Or do you
It's
ever
never,
get to know somebody?
like,
I
because
think
people
it's
going to
6
be
months
ever
minimum.
changing for real though.
I feel like
But
it's
the thing about it
situationships,
is, it's like sometimes when people change, you either going to adapt to it. Like if you really want to be with that person and work it out, you're going to adapt to it and adjust to their change, or you're going to have to change. Something's going to have to change. Like,
I don't know if it's like
it don't work. It depends on what it
or
is.
the time. I think it's like going through what you go through, because like if y'all never went through a struggling situation, you're never gonna see the person when they're like upset or when they're struggling or when they lost someone or lost something. Like if they don't experience those things, you're never going to see them deal with anger, happiness, sadness, testing like a situation when they're left alone, if they're going to cheat.
But that's where like the whole love comes into play, because at the same time it's like you're willing to storm that with that person unknowingly. Like there's cues on how people are going to act, because sometimes you can see how they act with certain other situations. You have to accept, like, be like, okay, I see when you get angry, you kind of do this thing, and you gotta kind of keep your eye on stuff like that.
Let me ask you a question, because this is for real. Like when you're dating, especially when you're dating with a purpose, you're looking for a life partner, hopefully, right?
Right.
That's when you're dating with a purpose.
All right.
Hold on. You're looking for a life partner. Shouldn't you do your research on that person?
How do you do your research on that person?
Yeah.
Because
that goes.
You can't go around asking people. They're gonna lie for them.
This is your life partner.
observe.
This is the biggest decision you're gonna make probably in your life.
But
To give somebody your life to. So you should do research on that person. You
a
come
lie
like
detector
how,
test.
though?
Because
a
you
lie
come,
detector test. I say do that.
no,
because it ain't lie detector test. What is your history in dating?
Mhm.
You got a man that ain't been raised by a man, only by a woman.
You got to
But,
do the
I
family.
mean, but at
checks
the
to look
same
the family
time-
is. That's
Yeah.
that's one of the main things too. You see how the family dynamic is. See how they react to their family. I don't fuck with my family.
So they
What's
act
the
around their
right,
friends.
right. They're a little
What's
crazy,
going
but
on?
it's also
Should you check his credit score?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should at least talk about
Hers, yeah, yeah. I am.
His too. Yeah.
I don't got to worry about
Y'all
his.
be out here
But if you don't do your research
some
on
real low
somebody,
numbers out here.
this is accountability. If you don't do your research on somebody, and then that relationship fail because you're surprised, ain't that your fault?
All right, but sometimes when you ask them about this stuff, they're like, "Oh man, all these girls hurt me. They did this, they did that." But come to find out, they was the problem.
I've had that happen. I
They
asked
was
all
the
the, I
problem
asked
the
all
whole
the
time.
Yes, I asked all
But
the
you
questions,
don't know that.
and I asked the background, all that, and the person literally chose like to lie about everything. Then when everything finally came out, they like got mad because they're like, "Well, you didn't ask. I asked every single one of these questions, and you said no to it. Like if I asked, have you been arrested? You say no. Then I finally find your mugshot one day. And you're like, well, I kind of forgot about that. It did happen, but." You knew. I asked all these background questions.
You go in the jumpsuit. Ain't no way you forgot.
You right, like you got process.
But when you are in research mode, you have to find more than one source. That ain't even a reliable source. Most women ain't reliable source because they always the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, everybody always do you wrong. It's one common denominator in that situation.
Come on now,
And that's you.
And you chose them too. You chose them.
So should you do your, like some women will check a man's background.
Right.
Like they'll get his information
Yeah.
and run his background.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't bad.
Yep.
I think it's fair.
I did mine.
Is it fair?
I've had it done to me.
To some extent, because
I-
like some
don't
people
be
that
weird,
don't give
though.
you. I about to say because that
I
kind
would
of
do
take
that
away
if I'm in a
people's
new
chance
area.
like of growth and change. Like that can't hold you, like pin you down to who you are. That's like saying like when people get out of jail, they're not capable of working because they got a felony, but they be some strong hard ass workers. They get that job, or like so you can't really hold
That go-
against people.
That goes two ways though, because like if somebody has nothing to hide, and if this is the person that's being asked those questions, and everything that they give is a straight answer, now it flips onto that person that's doing the research. Like, why are you doing this? Like,
Right.
do you have trust issues?
And do you have something to hide that I need to be looking for?
Right.
But
so
that's how we got to stop. You don't see what you don't do is like, we got to look at research as I'm picking a life partner. I'm not researching to judge you. I'm researching to see if I'm up for the task. One of the
Like
things,
for what though?
like say for instance, if you get somebody in a relationship, you got to study that person. And one of the biggest things you need to study is what they submit to. If you have a woman that submit to her emotions, you in for a long fucking ride.
Absolutely.
If you got a man that ain't submitting to God, you in for a man that don't know his purpose. Like like you really is picking a life partner, and we're picking it based off emotions. That shit don't last.
On surface, like everything be surface level.
Everything.
When it gets deep, everything's like rocky, like real rocky when it's too deep.
See, now that's kind of cool because like I'm at a point where I don't ask questions. I try to learn the person.
Observation.
Definitely
because
observe.
asking questions,
People lie.
Like people
lie so easily.
You're
like,
gonna
But-
be your best self.
anymore.
But sometimes observation takes too long. So you gotta ask certain questions and then you observe, okay, she said this. Now let's see if what's on paper is what's really in real life.
Or body language too. Like you bring a conversation up, and if it's an uncomfortable conversation because they either lied about it or don't fully want to talk about it, moving forward, they either going to switch up some way so you never find out the truth, or they do something weird like, oh, they start asking me like why I come home so late, da. Then they might start having a reason, or I don't know, try to jump on top of the horse before it goes like things get crazy, like before you notice the truth.
But that's when you already like in a relationship. I'm talking about when you decided, okay, I'm going to give this a go.
Mm-hmm.
Did I cross all my T's and dot all my I's?
You never really know. You could think
I
you
think
know.
we're being lazy in picking.
But how do you really know? Like if someone was to ask you right now, like I can get my pass, but like how are you really gonna know what you get? I don't even know.
But,
I'm
all right,
you.
so
Like I really don't know.
Another thing too. All right,
Go ahead.
this is another thing. So if my wife was to ask any other woman that I've probably ever dated as an adult, they're like, "Oh, this guy ain't hitting on 2 cents because he might probably cheat a little bit." So their experience with me gonna be completely different.
You have different
But you know
partners.
what would be the great part about that
What?
is if your wife already know what you said and it matched the energy that they gave.
But it's still, but her maybe doing her research and like why? Because I could have lied. Because a lot of dudes lie about.
No, that's what I'm saying. But if you're being honest,
Yeah.
I
and
guess
her,
when
Yeah.
she gets it, she'd be like, "Oh, he already told me this, so everything you're saying isn't a shocker."
right.
Yeah.
But what if
That
I
part.
just didn't say nothing? I just
Then
But
what
it
That's
you
an
didn't
issue,
work out.
nigga.
What you
But
hiding?
no, it's not hiding.